Do you want to analyze malware on Windows or Linux or both? Then this video is for you. In this video, we will set up FLARE and REMnux. Both are used for malware analysis, but FLARE is used on Windows and REMnux is used on Linux. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Before we can set up FLARE and REMnux, we need to add a new adapter on our pfSense, because if you click on pfSense, and you can see here we have all the 4 adapters used, but we need another one because we will add 2 new VMs, the FLARE one and the REMnux VM. Now we can't add a new adapter here on VirtualBox, but we can add a new adapter on our terminal. Now, the steps to add a new adapter differ depending on whether you are using Linux or Windows. Although I'm not using Windows, I will explain and show you the steps that you need to take in order to add a new adapter, and I will as well show on our Linux how to add a new adapter. So for those who have Windows, to add a 5th network adapter, we need to use the VirtualBox command line interface, which is the executable file named VBoxManage.exe. Now, this file is by default saved on a path that I will show you, but before we need to open our PowerShell. So we go here on the search bar, we right click on PowerShell and we click on Run as Administrator. So, by default, as I was saying, this file is by default saved on the following path. I will change of directories. So CD, capital C, then Program, Files like so, Oracle like so, and then VirtualBox. You click Enter. Now, if you list everything, you will see that you should have a file called VBoxManage.exe, and this is the file that we need in order to add a new adapter. Now, what we need to do is to copy this path, so let's do it. You can do it like so. Then, on the search bar, you write Edit Environment Variables for your account. Then you click on it. Then you click where it says Path, and you click on Edit. Now you will create a new one and you will paste the path that you just copied, okay? Then you click OK and then you click OK. Now, to see if the path was added to the variable called path, we can open PowerShell. So we can go here, we click here, Windows PowerShell, and we can write the following command: VBoxManage list VMs. Now I will click enter and I won't have any VM because, as I told you before, I use Linux, but you should have the VMs that you have installed on your VirtualBox listed here. So we click enter and you should see a list of VMs. Now let me just tell you that we added this path here to the variable called path, because in this way we can run the VBoxManage command from any location in the command prompt without needing to specify the full path to the executable each time. Okay, now we can create a new adapter interface, and I will show you what commands you should run, but let me tell you that I do not have pfSense installed, so I will not run these commands. So the first command that you should run should be VBoxManage modifyvm, and then between quotes pfSense, because in my case, for instance, my VM is called pfSense, and then nic5 intnet. Now this command creates an internal network. If you remember, our adapters 2, 3 and 4 are also internal networks. Then the second command should be VBoxManage modifyvm pfSense, because this is the name of my VM, then nic5 virtio, and this command sets the type of the 5th network adapter to virtio, just as we did for the other adapters. Then the third command should be VBoxManage modifyvm, then the name of your VM, pfSense, intnet 5 and then the name should be LAN 3, because as you remember we have LAN 0, LAN 1, LAN 2 and now we have LAN 3. Now this command names the internal network that we are creating as LAN 3. Then the fourth command and the last command should be VBoxManage, modifyvm, pfSense, and then cable connected 5 on. Now this command ensures that the fifth network adapter is connected as if a network cable is plugged in. After this you go to your VirtualBox and you should have the adapter number 5 named LAN 3. Also, even though we added this adapter, you will not be able to change its settings from pfSense settings. However, I will show you how to enable this interface in a minute. Okay, so now let's install our fifth adapter on our Linux. So on Linux, the file is named VBoxManage, not VBoxManage.exe. And the default path to this file is, let me show you, cd, user, and bin. And now, let me just expand this. So this is the path to the file called VBoxManage. And if you list the contents of this directory, let me just type and grep VBoxManage, you will see that we have indeed this file, and this is the file that we need, okay? Now, we need to save this path on our variable called path. Now, to see if we have already this path in that variable, we can use the following command, echo path. Now, if you click enter, you can see that I already have this path in this variable, so I don't need to add this path to this variable. If you do not have this path on this variable, you need to add it. To do that, you can use a text editor, nano, and then -rc. Then you click enter, and at the end of this file, so on your last line, you need to add the following string. Let me show you. This one here, export path equals to variable path and the path that you want to insert, okay guys? Then you save it. I will not save this because I already have it. Now, if you added this path, then you should reload the configuration, and to do that you use the following command, source and then -rc. I will not run it because I told you before, I already have this path and I didn't add any string to my -rc file. So after you have your path in your path variable, you can run the following commands to create our interface. So you use this one. Now here you change this name with the one that you have. So for instance, if you do not have pfSense here, you use the one that you have. We can click enter, then we insert the next one, like so, then the next one, and our last command. Now if you go to VirtualBox, you should have your fifth adapter, okay guys? So the steps are basically the same, but for instance on Windows the file is called VBoxManage.exe, on our Linux is VBoxManage only, but as you saw the commands are the same. Now that we have created our interface, we can enable it. From this point on, users on both Windows and Linux can follow these steps because they are the same for Windows and Linux. First, we power on pfSense, so we click on it and we click start. Now we just need to wait a little bit. So as you can see from our menu, you can see here that we do not have our fifth adapter. So we need to add that adapter. Now from this menu we choose option 1. And we choose option 1 because we need to assign our new interface. So we click enter. Should VLANs be set up now? We insert no. So as we had before, our WAN was VTnet 0, our LAN was VTnet 1, our cyber range was VTnet 2, our AD lab was VTnet 3, and this is the new interface that we just added, the fifth interface. So we insert VTnet 4. Now, do you want to proceed? We insert Y, we click enter. So here, as you can see, we do not have only 4 interfaces, but we have our new fifth interface as well. But what we need to do now is to assign a new IP address to this interface. So from this menu, we will select the number 2, like so, and we click enter. Now we choose 5 because we want to assign an IP address to the fifth interface. So 5, like so. Now we say no to this question. The new OPT3 IPv4 address will be 10.99.99.1. Then we click enter. The new OPT3 IPv4 subnet will be 24. Here we just click enter. Configure IPv6 address OPT3 interface via DHCP6. We insert no. The new OPT3 IPv6 address, we will not insert 1, so we just click enter. Here we say yes. The start range will be 10.99.99.11. The end address will be 10.99.99.243, like so. Now, do you want to revert to HTTP as the web configurator protocol? We say no, and we click enter, and we wait a little bit. Okay, now as you can see, we have our fifth interface, and we have an IP address to that interface. Now, what we need to do is to go to pfSense and rename this interface, because as you remember before, AD lab was OPT2, our cyber range was OPT1, and we need to change so we can know what interface is what. So we go to Kali Linux and we power on our Kali Linux. Okay, so on our Linux we go to Firefox, then we go to pfSense, we sign in, and here we will change the name from OPT3 to isolated. Okay guys, so we go to interfaces, and we go to OPT3 and we change to isolated. We click save and we apply the changes. Okay, now if you go to interfaces, you can see that our OPT3 is now called isolated. Now we will configure the rules to this lab. To do that, we go to firewall, we go to rules, and we click where it says isolated because we want to apply rules to this interface. Now we can add a new rule. The action will be block. The interface will be isolated because we want to apply this rule to this interface. The address will be IPv4 plus IPv6, and the protocol will be any, and the source will be isolated subnets. Here the destination we don't change anything because we want to apply this rule to all the destinations, so to any, okay? The description, we will insert block access to everything. Okay, so guys, let me just explain what this rule does very quickly. So this rule basically blocks all traffic from isolated subnets, covering both IPv4 plus IPv6 traffic for all protocols. Now let me just tell you that we implement this rule because we are creating a lab to analyze malware. And this rule basically will ensure that the malware that is being analyzed on our labs cannot spread to other VMs or to our network. Now we can click save and we apply the changes. And you should have something like this in the end. So until now we created a new interface, we enabled it on pfSense, we renamed it and we created a rule. And now we are ready to begin our FLARE setup. So as I told you, FLARE is used on Windows, and because we already have our Active Directory, we can use one of those ISO files that we used on our Active Directory to install FLARE. Now, to do that, we click on Tools, we click New, we can name it FLARE, like so. We upload an ISO image, the Windows 10 Enterprise.iso image, and we click on Skip Unattended Installation. And this is because we want to manually install this OS. Then you click Next. The base memory will be 4096. We click Next. The disk size will be 100. Next. And we click Finish. And we now have a new VM. Now, as we did to others, we will add this VM to a new group. So we right click on it, move to group, and we click New. Now we will rename this group, so we right click on it, rename group, and this group will be called Malware Analysis, and we click Enter. Now we will move this group into our home lab. So we right click on it, move to group Home Lab. Now let's configure our new VM, our FLARE VM. To do that, we click on it. We click on Settings, we go to System, we uncheck Floppy, we click on Hard Disk and we put it at first and our optical at second. Now usually we would go to Network and make some changes. For instance, this will be changed to Internal Network and the name would be LAN 3, this one here. But if we do that, our VM will not have internet connectivity. But we need internet connectivity in order to download FLARE. So now we do not do anything, we put it as it was, attached to net, and we just click OK. But after we set up FLARE, we will make those changes on our network, so our FLARE will not be able to have internet connectivity. But this is just in the end. So now let's install our OS, make our OS configurations. To do that, we click on FLARE and we click Start. So here we change time and keyboard, we click Next, we click Install and we wait a little bit. We accept the terms, we click Next, we click on Costume, Install Windows Only Advanced, then we click on the only drive that we have, we click Next, and we wait while our Windows is being installed. Okay, so now we choose the region once again, the keyboards. Now you can add a new layout, but I will skip it. So here we will select domain join instead. Now you need to choose the name, but you can't insert special characters nor spaces, because otherwise FLARE will not work. Then next, you choose a password. Okay, now you click Next, you confirm your password, you choose the 3 questions, the 3 security questions. Now you say no, accept, no, this one here, accept, no, 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 and we wait a little bit more. And we have our Windows installed. So, if you saw our previous videos, you know that the first thing that we will do is to remove our ISO file. To do that, we go to Devices, Optical Drives, and remove disk from Virtual Drive. Also, we install guest additions. So, to do that, we go to Devices, like so, insert guest additions CD image, then we go to File Explorer, then we expand this PC, and we click CD drive. Then we double click on VBox Windows Additions, we click Yes, we click Next, we click Next, Install, and we click on Reboot Now and Finish. So now, as you can see, our Windows is being restarted and we need to wait a little bit. Okay, now we insert our passwords and we log in. And one of the benefits of installing guest additions is when you maximize this window, this will automatically resize. Now we will also remove our image of guest editions. So we do the same, we remove disk from virtual drive. Before we move on, let's take a snapshot of our VM, and we do this because, as you can see here below, this Windows has a 90 days of evaluation, which means that after these 90 days end, you will be able to use it anyway, but the VM will restart every hour. In this way, with the snapshot, you can make your VM go back to the evaluation period. Now, for those who created Active Directory, you should do this as well on your VMs, because as I told you before, this Windows, the Windows 10 Enterprise, is used on our Active Directory, which means that on our Active Directory the 3 machines will have also evaluation days, and those days when they end you will be able to use your VMs, but as I told you before, they will restart every hour. Now, that being said, let's do it. We power off our Windows, so we go to Start, we click here, Power, and Shut Down, because we need to take a snapshot with our VM powered off. Now we click here on these 3 dots, Snapshots, and we click Take. Now you give it a name. I will give the name Base State. We click OK. Now we can click here and we go to details to go back. Now we can install FLARE, but before we do that we need to disable Windows Updates and Windows Defender. So let's begin by power on our FLARE. Now let me just tell you that we disable Windows Updates because we need our system to stay the same while we are studying malware. And if we do not disable Windows Updates, then the system will automatically download changes which can make our system behave differently. However, we need stability for consistent analysis, and that's why we disable Windows Updates. We also disable Windows Defender because it is a program that protects your computer by removing malware when it finds any on your system. However, if you are studying malware, we need it to stay on our computer. So that's why we need to disable Windows Defender. Now, to disable Windows Updates, we go to the search bar, we write Settings, like so, then we click on it, we click on Update and Security, and we click Pause Updates for 7 days. Okay, now we can disable Windows Defender. Now, before we do that, let me just tell you that we will disable Windows Defender in 2 ways. One is through Windows, and another is by executing a script. The first way that we will use is disable Windows Defender through Windows. So we go here where it says Show Hidden Icons. We right click here on this shield, like so, and we click on View Security Dashboard. Now we can take this off, we can maximize this. Now we click here on Virus and Threat Protection. We click where it says Manage Settings, below Virus and Threat Protection Settings, and we turn this off. We click Yes. We turn this off, we turn this off, we turn this off, and we don't have anything more to turn off. Okay, so in this way we disabled Windows Defender through Windows. Now we can run the script, but before we do that we need to download that script and save it. Now to do that, we right click on Start menu and we click on Windows PowerShell Admin, like so. We click Yes, and now we will run the following command. So basically this command will download this script here from GitHub and we'll save it on downloads under this name. Now let's put our machine in safe mode, and we do this to ensure that our machine is in a basic state with only the essential programs and services running. In this way there won't be anything on our machine that can interfere while we analyze malware. Now, to put our machine in a safe mode, we click on Windows R, we write msconfig like so, we choose the boot tab and we click save boot. We click OK and we restart. Now we log in, and as you can see, this isn't like a normal Windows. So we saved a script and now we can run it. To do that, we right click on Start and we click on Windows PowerShell Admin. Now, as I told you before, we saved the script on our downloads. So we will change to downloads like so. Now let's list the contents of this directory, and as you can see, we have our script here. Okay, now we are on downloads, but we need to run a command that will unblock the script that we just downloaded, the disable defender.ps1 script. Now let me explain why we need to do this. Well, we run this command because when we download scripts, Windows can mark them as unsafe and block them. So this is just a safety measure to prevent you from running scripts that might contain malware. Now we need to unblock this script because we need to run it. To do that, we use this command here, unblock file, in the name of our script. We click enter. Now we need to run a command that will disable the policy that prevents script execution, and this command is this one, set execution policy unrestricted -force. And finally we can run our script, and to do that we insert a period, /, and then the name of our script, disable-defender.ps1, and we click enter. Now we need to wait a little bit. Now we need to press any key to continue. Now we just need to reboot our VM the same way that we did before. By clicking on Windows R, we go to msconfig, we go to boot, and we uncheck save boot. Then we click apply, and then OK, and then restart. And now we just need to wait a little bit. Now we log in. Okay, now we click enter. So, okay guys, now that our Windows has restarted, if you go here where it says show hidden icons and you right click on the shield and you click on view security dashboard, you will see that now our virus and threat protection is disabled. And if you have something like I have, this means that the script worked. Okay, now we can rename our PC because the name of our PC is a bunch of numbers and letters, and if you rename it, it will be easier to identify it. So, to rename our PC, we can write here this PC, then we click on properties and we click rename this PC. Now as you can see, the current name of our PC is this one here, but we can rename it to FLARE-VM. We click next and we click restart now. Okay, now we will take a snapshot, and once again we need to shut down our session. So we go here and we shut down, and we will take another snapshot, but this time with the Defender disabled. So to do that, we click once again here on 3 dots, snapshots, and we click take. Now we rename it, and we can give a name like no defender, like so. We click OK, and now we have two snapshots, one that is the base state and another that doesn't have defender. Now let's power on once again our FLARE, because this time we will install FLARE. So we click on it and we click start. We log in. Now to install FLARE we need to go to our PowerShell as admin. To do that, we right click on the start and we click on Windows PowerShell admin. Yes. And as we did before with the script that disabled Defender, we will do the same to FLARE. So we will run a command that will download FLARE and save it on downloads. Now this command will basically go to GitHub, download the script called install.ps1, and we'll save it on downloads under the name of install.ps1 as well. Now we can run it. Okay, now our script is saved under downloads, so we just need to change of directories. To do that, we use cd, then the $sign, then home, then /downloads. Now if you list everything, you will see that you do not only have the script that disabled Defender, but you also have the script that will install FLARE. Now we just need to run the commands that we did before. One to unlock the downloaded script, in this case install.ps1, and another that will disable PowerShell script execution policy. So in this case, this command will basically allow us to run this script and then run the script itself. Now, this is the first command that we will use, and this command will basically unblock this file so we can run it. Then we will run this command, and this command will basically make our PowerShell allow us to run a script, and now we can run the script itself. And to do that, we write // and then the name of the script, in this case install.ps1. Now we click enter, we wait a little bit. Here we say yes because we did. We enter the password for this user and we wait a little bit. And here we have a window where we will customize our FLARE, and where it says package installation customization on the left side, so this one here, we click where it says /developed.vm and we click here on this arrow, like so. Then we click OK and FLARE will be installed. Now be aware that this installation can take a while. Now let me just tell you that our installation can restart our system, and that's perfectly normal. Okay guys, so as you can see, our installation is completed, so we can click enter and we will restart our VM. So we go to start and power and restart. Now we can log in. So we have FLARE installed, but as you know, this VM does not belong to the isolated subnet yet, because we needed internet connectivity in order to download the scripts that we just did. Now, once we move this VM to that subnet, to the isolated subnet, we will no longer have internet connectivity in this VM, so we can't download malware. What we will do is to create another VM, and we will do that in another video, in the next video, and then we will use SSH to get that malware, the malware that we will download in that VM on our FLARE machine. And to do that, we need to install SSH. So let's do it. So if you click here and you write add, like so, or remove programs, and you click on it, then you go to optional features, we click here add a feature, we search for it. So if you insert OpenSSH, like so, you click, you check this box and you click install. Now as you can see, our OpenSSH is being installed, so we need to wait a little bit. So now we have OpenSSH installed, and if you search for SSH, you should have the client and the server. And we are almost done with this VM, we just need to move it into our isolated subnet. But before we do that, let me just tell you that I will tell you how to move malware from new VM to this to the FLARE VM in another video. For now, let's move our VM into our isolated subnet. Now, to do this, we can close this and we can shut down this machine. So power off, shut down. Now we go to its settings, like so. Now we go to network, and here where it says attached to, we choose internal network, and the LAN name will be LAN 3. And remember that from now on we will not have internet connectivity on our FLARE VM, and we click OK. Now, to finish this installation, our FLARE installation, we will just take another snapshot. So we click here, we go to snapshots, and you take one. The name can be FLARE, just like this. And you click OK. And that's it for FLARE, guys, but don't go anywhere because now we will set up REMnux on our Linux. So let's get to it. The first thing that we need to do is to download our REMnux image. To do that, we go to Firefox and we write REMnux ISO. Now we can click here, we go to download, so we go to VirtualBox, OVA, and we click where it says box. And we wait a little bit. You can download like so, and as you can see, our OVA image is being downloaded. Okay, so as you can see, our download is complete. So if you go to your terminal, and in my case will be on downloads, you should have a file like this here. So now that we have our OVA file, we can create our VM on VirtualBox. Now, because it's an OVA file, we do not click on New, we click on Tools and we click Import. Now we choose our OVA file, so we go to Downloads and we choose REMnux VirtualBox.ova, like so. We open, we click Next, and here where it says MAC address policy, we click on Generate new MAC addresses for all network adapters, like so, and we can click Finish. So as you can see, our VM is being created, and we need to wait a little bit. And here we have it, guys, our REMnux VM. Now, as you probably know, we will move this VM into our malware analysis. So we right-click on it, we click Move to Group, and we click on Home Lab Malware Analysis. So, as we did with our FLARE VM, the first thing that we will do is to configure REMnux VM. So we click on it and we click on Settings. Then we go to System, we uncheck floppy, we click on hard disk and we put it at first, and the optical at second. And now we click OK. Now we can start our VM, so let's do it. And as you can see, guys, we are in. Now the first thing that we will do is update our guest editions, because as you can see, we already have guest editions, but there's an update available. So we go to Devices, and we click where it says Upgrade Guest Editions, like so. As you can see, it's being updated. Okay, now, as we do with other Linux distributions, we will upgrade our system. Now, the command is a little bit different from the usual. So the usual could be sudo apt upgrade, but this time the command will be REMnux upgrade. And you click enter, guys. So now we just need to wait a little bit for the system complete the upgrade process, and after this we will restart this VM. So as you can see, our upgrade is complete, so we can restart our system. To do that, we can close this and we can go here and power off and power off, like so. Now we can restart, and this is it for REMnux. As you can see, it's much simpler than FLARE. Now we can shut down our machine, so power off and power off. Now we will move our VM into our isolated subnet as we did to our FLARE VM. To do that, we click on our REMnux VM, we click on Settings, then we go to Network, and where it says Attached to, we click on Internal Network, and the name will be LAN 3, like so. And then we click OK. And from now on, our REMnux VM will not have internet connectivity. Now, our last step is to take a snapshot of this VM. To do that, as you know already, we go to these three dots, we go to Snapshots, and we click on Take. The name can be REMnux, like so, dash fresh state. Then we click OK. And this is it, guys. This concludes our setup for both FLARE and REMnux in our malware analysis lab. In the next video, I will demonstrate how to transfer malware samples to your FLARE VM and to your REMnux VM. I didn't cover this in this video because we will need to create another VM on another video, and that will be the VM that we will use to download our malware samples and transfer via SSH those samples into our FLARE and REMnux VM. Now, remember, we have isolated these VMs from everything including internet to safely analyze the malware without risking your network. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. Now, before you go, consider checking out this video here. See you next time, stay curious, stay safe, and happy hacking! Bye bye!